All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So it was pretty recently where I was reacting to a video, and I think they were covering some of the worst jump shots we've ever seen in NBA history. And Markelle Fultz came up, and it's one of those subjects where I remember some of the story because I watched a YouTube video years ago about this guy. And I can't remember it all too clear, but I know like a lot of people were just making fun of his jump shot, but I think there was like an actual solid reason for this to happen. And that's why I wanted to watch this video with you guys, because I know a lot of us actually, we saw him come in and then it was just like, what happened to this guy? So this video is titled How Markelle Fultz Was Kicked Out of the NBA. This is by Dylan Does Basketball, which I am already subscribed to. And I'm going to link the original video down below in the description for you guys. If you want to check out this channel, or if you want to watch this video without me, go right ahead. And yeah, not much else to say because I don't want to because I have assumptions that I think I remember, but I'm not 100%. So why bother spoil it anyways? Let's just let's experience this one together. So like the vid if you don't mind, it helps out a ton. And without further ado, let's check this out.
It is a psychological issue with Fultz. You feel bad for him.
Fultz literally pump faking during a free throw.
To be the top pick in the draft and just not able to bring anything, no value to the game at all. I feel sorry for the young man, to be honest.
Ouch. That's a harsh statement.
So apparently Markelle Fultz is back.
Wheelhouse dunk, dynamic, Fultz flying high. Here comes the speed of Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz is making an amazing comeback.
And the NBA is back. We're ready to tip off season number 35 in Orlando Magic history.
At the age of 26, the career of Markelle Fultz might be over already.
Dramatic intro. Let's go.
The brand new 2024-25 NBA season is about to begin, and to the shock of many, former number 1 overall pick Markelle Fultz still remains unsigned. At just the age of 26,
okay, for context, this was 5 months ago.
His career has suddenly fallen into an abyss. Fultz is no stranger to his
Hold on, I wanted to actually look at that. So in 1 year, these are declines. All right, 14 to 8, 5.7 to 2. Okay, so everything just went down. Field goal percentage not that much lower though. So I'm assuming he got less shots or less play time.
His career has suddenly fallen into an abyss. Fultz is no stranger to his fair share of setbacks though. He faced an unreal level of adversity during his time with the Philadelphia 76ers. Many believed his NBA career was on the verge of ending, but he was able to heroically overcome his challenges and evolve into a productive player with the Orlando Magic. That's where most NBA fans lost track of his journey. Fultz had successfully flipped the narrative.
To be fair, that's when I lost track of his journey as well.
Being viewed as a massive bust to being seen as someone who conquered his inner demons. This shift was further cemented when Fultz put up career numbers in the 2022-23 season, becoming one of the most valuable pieces for a young and promising Magic team. Fultz may have not been the star we'd all expected, but it appeared like he'd still be able to carve out a respectable career. However, no one who had followed him closely could have possibly predicted that just 1 year later, he'd be fighting to remain in the league. So what happened? How did Markelle Fultz, for the second time in his career, suddenly derail from the promising path he seemed to be on? I'm
just going to guess the 3-ball wasn't dropping for him, and in today's league, if the 3-ball doesn't drop, then you have no value. Just what I'm going to guess, but I didn't actually see. Let's just watch.
Tragic story of how the NBA left Markelle Fultz behind. Believe it or not, we're now approaching 7 years since Markelle Fultz first entered the league. The young guard initially had enormous hype, fueled by his elite play in college. But all this excitement would abruptly come to an end the moment he played his first game for the Sixers. Rather than becoming the clear third star alongside Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons for Philly, Fultz's play infamously took a catastrophic turn for the worse. His shooting form inexplicably deteriorated, from one with a high fluid release point to one resembling that of a 12-year-old playing basketball for the first time.
That's a bad looking free throw right there.
Wow, he's covering his vision with the ball here. So he has to like peer off to the side of the ball in order to see. So I'm assuming, dude, it's got to be a shoulder. I don't know which shoulder because they're both so out of position. If this shoulder was up like this, then this forearm should be able to rise up to match it, and the ball should be much higher and out of his eyesight, because his eyes are like somewhere right around here. Crazy. It's got to be one of the other shoulders.
Despite the overwhelming media frenzy surrounding this situation, most NBA fans are still laughably ignorant to what actually transpired here.
And that's why I wanted to watch this with you guys, because easy to just laugh at him, but I'm pretty sure there's a solid reason for what happened to him.
What happened to Fultz was not the result of a biking accident or the yips. It was actually all due to thoracic outlet syndrome, TOS, a nerve condition that affects the shoulder. It isn't detectable through an MRI or CAT scan, which is what NBA teams typically use to diagnose an injury.
Another thing people don't know, TOS is not diagnosed through an MRI, CAT scan. It's very hard to diagnose TOS, which is a big part of why, in the beginning, I kind of thought that nothing was going on, and I just thought it was my shoulder, because when I got MRIs and I got the, scans, I didn't see anything that was going on.
This is why.
To be fair, yeah, I've for many, many years now, I've had a pinched sciatic nerve, and yeah, that stuff, the inflammation will show up on these scans, but it's not like a scan is going to go like, oh, that's a pinched sciatica. And also, it's very hard to treat nerve injuries because, like my options, it was basically like I got a chance of being paralyzed after surgery, or a chance to make the injury even worse, even if it's successful, or a slight chance it'll be better, but even if it improves, it might revert back to its old state, like really fast. So the options were really, really terrible. So I just ended up living with it. It sucks.
It took a year and a half for it to be identified in Fultz. Neither the Sixers nor Fultz's personal trainer correctly handled the situation. When he first began showing these shooting problems in his rookie year, the Sixers misdiagnosed him with scapular-muscular imbalance, a condition he didn't even have, leading to fluid being drained from his shoulder.
Oh, crap.
Later on, his trainer, Drew Hanlon, told the media Fultz simply had the yips, confidently spreading misinformation that painted Fultz out to be some sort of a mental midget.
Yep, and at that point, you're basically just saying, oh, he's just choking on the big stage in the NBA.
So not only was Markelle's Sixers tenure wrecked as a result of the incompetence around him, but his reputation was dampened as well.
This man has some personal demons that are none of our business, that most of us don't know about intimately and probably never will, nor should we. But I will tell you, it is not just about his shoulder.
Yikes.
This young brother's got some issues. He's got some problems, and I sincerely hope and pray that he will overcome it.
He's acting like he killed someone.
I know.
What's important?
But by the way, just imagine at this point they got two guys who won't take the open shot between Markelle and Ben Simmons. So trust the process. I don't know.
The note about TOS is that without a very risky surgery, it's something that can never be cured, only managed with physical therapy. This means that for the remainder of Fultz's basketball playing days, he'll be at the mercy of whether or not his shoulder wants to act properly. It's no coincidence then that Fultz's level of play has directly coincided with how healthy his shoulder is. When his shoulder isn't bothering him, he can play like a starting level guard. But when his shoulder gives him problems, he becomes borderline unplayable.
Okay, I wanted to look at something again real quick.
When his shoulder isn't bothering him.
Okay, so healthy shoulders, high release. Right there. Unhealthy shoulder. I think he's about to release it right here. Look at that. Yeah, because he can't raise the shoulder.
He can.
Right? Yeah. That's where he released it from. Wow. Yep. Okay.
Borderline unplayable. As you can imagine, this understandably turns off many teams from signing him, because choosing the route of a normal, stress-free guard is far easier and more enticing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, though, it's not only his shoulder that's been giving Fultz issues, it's his left knee too, which is even more worrying because of how lethal knee injuries have proven to be on basketball players. It all started when Fultz tore his ACL 8 games into the 2020-21 season.
Damn.
It was a devastating injury that sidelined him for the next 13 months. But even more problematic was that it triggered a series of long-term knee problems Fultz has had to exhaustingly micromanage to this day. So that's 2 deadly health issues Fultz has had to monitor, all while trying to develop his game at the same time.
Boy's sagging like it's the 90s.
While this does seem like a horrible amount of baggage that would cripple any NBA player's career, Fultz actually appeared to be on the right path in the 2022-23 season. After missing the first 21 games of that year due to a toe injury he suffered while walking around the house, Fultz proceeded to play 60 out of the 61 remaining games. What we saw in those 60 games was a confident, talented player that produced winning results. Look no further than the Magic's record with Fultz and without him that year. Without him, they were just 5-17. With him, they were 29-31.
Damn, MVP.
In an 82-game season, that would be an 18-win pace without Fultz, and a 39-win pace with him. A drastic improvement.
Fultz with a step-back three.
That was a low release too.
On the floor, his stats were all career highs. He shot 51% from the field, which was higher than guards Steph Curry, Kyrie, and Damian Lillard. He scored 14 points per game, his strongest average since entering the league. Even his shoulder, which had ruined the first 5 years of his career, seemed to have finally calmed down. He shot 29 of 30, 96% from the free throw line in the month of February 2020.
Wow, 96.6? Wow.
3.
Yeah, so he's not a choker. There's no way. Someone who chokes is not shooting 97% from the free throw line. No way in hell.
He shot 78% overall, a major improvement for a guy who shot just 47% from the stripe in his rookie year. Even his three-point shooting, his biggest flaw, seemed to be heading in the right direction. Fultz saw his shooting form from behind the arc improve by 8 percentage points from the
It's still terrible form. Terrible form, but I mean, if it's dropping...
previous year. It now stood at 31%. Still not great, but far more manageable on offense. His jump shot appeared to be making a comeback as well. In the final few games of the season, Fultz splashed 2 3-pointers with a high-release shot
that's a good
quite
one.
Similar to his
So
college.
it's just inconsistent. Like the OP here is saying, it just depends on how his shoulder's feeling that day.
One. From his
So he basically had to learn 2 different ways of shooting a jump shot. That way he could adapt to shooting when his shoulder is hurting.
Year in 2017 to his 6th year in 2023, his form from 3 was always a low push shot.
Yeah.
But now, a glimmer of hope. He was starting to shoot like his old self again.
That's a pretty shot.
It was unbelievable, and a testament to how healthy his shoulder was. At many points throughout the season, especially in the final 3 months, Fultz was arguably the most important player on the Magic, above Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner. He was a good playmaker, a surprisingly lethal mid-range shooter, an excellent finisher, and above all else, a respected locker room figure and leader that his teammates relied on. After a nightmare first
I notice he's blocking the hell out of a lot of people.
Years, at last, the young guard was on the verge of proving himself as a player deserving of respect.
There it is.
Now, it was time to fully break out as a star. Contract year, Markelle. The 2023-24 season was shaping up to be the most pivotal of Fultz's career. The 25-year-old guard was entering his final year under contract with the Orlando Magic. With such a successful 22-23 campaign under his belt, building on that with an even better 23-24 run would set him up for a massive payday in the summer of 2020.
You know what I like seeing here? 4 steals.
An even better 23-24 run would set him up for a massive payday in the summer of 2024. To raise the stakes, the Magic were poised for their first postseason run in 4 years. Fultz had the chance to be a top contributor on a playoff team. Fultz fans and Magic fans alike were buzzing with excitement. No, literally, Fultz was now sporting a buzz cut. Markelle and his management knew that this was a golden opportunity to come out of all the drama and misery of the past on top. But rather than getting a just and fair conclusion to the Markelle Fultz saga, everything spiraled out of control. It only took a few games in the new 2023-24 season for Magic fans to notice something was terribly wrong with Fultz. The player who was the backbone to Orlando's success was now surprisingly the worst starter on the court. It took just 4 games before he was yanked from the team due to knee swelling. So what happened? As someone who has watched every game Markelle Fultz has played for the Magic since the 2019-20 season, I can confidently highlight 2 key factors that contributed to his sudden decline. The first one is the Magic's team construction. The 23-24 Magic were near the bottom of the league in both 3-point percentage and attempts per game. Jeff Weltman and the Magic's front office built the team like we were still in the 90s with Bill Clinton as president. No shooting whatsoever. Of course, this affected Fultz for the worse. He already can't shoot well, and in the 23-24 season especially, he shot a career low from distance.
Alright, so far predicted, alright?
Not being able to shoot in the modern NBA is bad, but when most of your teammates around you are also below average shooters, it compounds these challenges even more. What was really behind Fultz's miserable year though was that for the entire season, he just wasn't healthy. His lateral quickness and overall athleticism had all been diminished severely thanks to left knee tendinitis. After he played the first 4 games, he sat out for nearly 2 months, putting his grand plan of a breakout season in jeopardy. This wasn't the only thing that was bothering him though. Even worse was that Fultz's shoulder had somehow become an issue again. As mentioned earlier, his 3-point percentage sank by 9 points. His free throws...
Yeah, he had zero balance in that, so it's a lack of strength in that right shoulder. Hold on, I'm gonna slow this down for you guys. It's been a while since I've done this. Playback speed 0.25. Let me mute it. Okay, watch his form. Oof. Yeah, it's like it's shook. All right. I should learn how to get faster at that. Sorry.
By 9 points. His free throws, which were cash money throughout 2023, dipped from 78% to 69%. Markelle's mid-range game, which was previously his bread and butter, was now below average. His points per game went from 14 to just 8. Make no mistake, this was no slump. All of this was due to his TOS flaring up again. His form, which, reminder, showed flashes of his college self at the end of the 2023 season, reverted back to an ugly push shot. When he returned to the court after sitting out for 2 months, Fultz was also spotted wearing a protective shoulder covering, which was obviously put there as a TOS precaution. The young guard's body had betrayed him once more, crumbling at the most crucial moment of his career. Unsurprisingly, these injuries negatively impacted his confidence on the floor. He once again began hesitating to shoot open threes, a problem from earlier in his career that many thought he had overcome. His playmaking took a nosedive, as teams' defenses gave him less and less attention, since his offense was no longer as threatening. His perimeter defense was at many times below average, due to his lack of lateral quickness thanks to the knee issue.
Guys, this is hard to watch, because the kid's got heart. You know, he made a comeback. He changed everything. It seems like he has a positive attitude, because we don't hear him like playing victim all the time. And then just his body I don't know. It just reminds me of like guys like T-Mac and Grant Hill.
In the blink of an eye,
what could have been?
Markelle Fultz had regressed to one of the worst guards in the league, all because factors out of his control had negatively impacted him. Some theorized that because Fultz's team knew how important the 2023-24 season was going to be for him, they trained extra hard in the offseason. Perhaps too hard, to the point where Fultz applied too much pressure on his knee or shoulder while working. In April 2024, it was revealed in a video on Fultz's YouTube channel that for the entire season, he had been playing with a tiny fracture in his knee.
He had in the past left knee injury, and there was right here, just like a little bit of an insufficiency, just a tiny little fracture. So every day we want to make sure that he is helping this to heal properly, and this is one of the ways to do it.
Rather than addressing this fully by sitting out for the whole season, Fultz chose to play through this fracture, which was a dangerous, head-scratching decision. He's always been praised by his teammates and
I
coaching
know. I mean, he's trying to get that contract. I get it.
staff for his work ethic throughout his 8-year career. So the idea that he might have pushed himself too hard and thus strained his body isn't out of the realm of possibility. Still, even despite...
To be fair, though, this is a guy who's been injured his entire career in one way or another. So he's used to playing through this.
Treacherous 2024 campaign, followers of Fultz's game felt it was no question that he'd be picked up immediately once free agency started in the summer. After all, how could one bad season erase an overall solid Orlando Magic tenure? Well, it quickly became apparent that no one was interested. Free agency passed, then training camp, then the preseason, but he still remained unsigned. Why? In the NBA, recency bias is king. You're only as good as your last season, and Fultz's last season before he hit free agency was nothing short of abysmal.
Yeah.
Any team thinking about picking him up is turned off by his health, which is a ticking time bomb. At any minute, his shoulder could be completely unusable and sabotage his offense. At any other minute, his knee could swell up and kill his defense and explosiveness. He just can't stay healthy. He's never been able to. In his 8-year career, he's managed to play over 60 games in a season only twice. In 4 seasons, he's been limited to fewer than 20 games. To put this in perspective, look at Jason Tatum, who was drafted in 2017 alongside Fultz. JT has played 513 games, compared to Fultz's 200.
Guys, this music is from a Final Fantasy game, and I can't pin it, but it definitely is.
134. It's borderline impossible to build any momentum with all that time sitting on the sideline, and it's a huge red flag for any squad interested in signing Kell. On top of this, Fultz's lack of shooting just doesn't fly in the modern NBA. You can't shoot 22% from 3 and expect to be taken seriously as a guard. He's always excelled with the ball in his hands, but now his offense no longer justifies making him the main ball handler. This forces him to be an off-ball player, which he can't do well because he can't shoot.
Yeah.
You see the predicament? To make matters worse,
They threw him in that Chris Bosh spot.
Fultz is now 26, past the point where teams might take a flyer on him as a development project. If Markelle just wanted to sign with any team as the 15th man and be subjected to getting DNP'd a fair amount, I'm sure he would sign somewhere. He wants consistent good minutes though, and that's something teams are hesitant to give. Another factor for why Fultz hasn't been signed is the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement rules that were just put into play in the 2024 offseason. Teams are now punished for spending too much money in a way they never were before with the recently implemented second apron. If a team spends too much dough and reaches the second apron, then they'll get hit with dozens of harsh penalties, like losing picks or losing the ability to conduct sign-in trades. What this does is make teams far more cautious when handing out money in free agency. Thus, role players who
I dig that. That punishes you for trying to buy a championship.
In 2024 now had to scramble to sign with teams for far less than they expected. For example, Tyus Jones and Gary Trent Jr., widely considered to be valuable role players, each had to sign for the minimum, because contending teams who wanted them were too scared to pay them and hit the second apron.
I think that means less players are going to get the max too, which overall is a good thing for spreading talent around the league.
Fultz may be another victim of this. Perhaps he's being told by his team to sit and wait until he receives a contract higher than the minimum. Who knows? So where does he go from here? Well, Fultz and his team need to put health above everything. No more playing will hurt. He needs to make sure his knee and shoulder are in a good place before returning. If he manages to recover from these numerous injuries, there's no doubt he could return to his 2023 form, a valuable player who contributes meaningfully to winning basketball. But recovering from these health issues are much easier said than done. To the surprise of many, Markelle Fultz has found himself on the verge of losing his spot in the NBA once more. While he managed to salvage his career the first time with the Magic, this time, if he wants to stay in the NBA, he'll need to dig deep and somehow defy the odds once again. His resilience is being put to the ultimate test. Good luck to him.
Yeah, I'm with it, man. I wish this kid luck, because this is all just unfortunate, happenstance. So it looks like it was a motorcycle injury, I believe is what they said in the very beginning. And everything after that has just been just hell. So that's what triggered the pinched nerve, and or not the pinched nerve, but the nerve damage. And the rest is history. So, but there you have it, everybody. I knew there was a reason, and I seem to remember it was one of the shoulders, but I just couldn't remember exactly what happened to him. So there it is. It's not because he's a choke artist. It's really not. Because the guy, when his shoulder is behaving, the guy is shooting lights out. So we can't call a guy like that a choke artist. It's just not fair. But what is fair is, man, I hope he saved up his money, man. That's all. Because I don't know if he's going to get another chance at this point. Because having one injury, you know, that was one thing. But now that he has a bad knee as well, that's a lot for a team to take on when they're spending millions of dollars on a player. It's a lot of risk to take. So I don't know if he's going to get another shot. I hope he does. But if he doesn't, man, I hope he saved that money that he made, because, you know, that's gonna have to carry him forward. But yeah, I mean, everything I've seen about him, he seems like a good kid. You know, good attitude. And, you know, he's just out there trying to get back on the court and trying to make this his career for another, like, 10 years. But his body just has not allowed him. And I couldn't relate to this in my 20s, but in my 40s now, you know, like, yeah, I have a handful of injuries that are always going to hurt, that prevent me from doing some physical activities that I would like to do on a regular basis, but I know not to do them because I'm just going to get hurt worse. And that sucks. So to have to deal with that in your 20s, I feel for the kid. That's a crappy situation to be in. So anyways, everyone, that's my opinion on all this. Hope you guys learned something. I definitely learned a lot here. And yeah, like the vid if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. And yeah, hit that bell if you want to get notified for the next one. I'll see you guys in the comments. And yeah, peace out. I'm doing a little bit of traveling coming up, so I might be a little slow on the replies to comments for a couple of days, but it'll just be a couple of days and I'll be back in action. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know in case you were like, what the hell happened to Minecraft? Nah, I'm still around, you guys. I needed to get out of the house and take a little trip here. So, you know, and when I'm on a trip, I don't like to be on my phone. It's just straight up. Like I'll do that when I'm bored at home. But yeah. All right, everyone. Peace out. And as always, be water, my friends.